welcome to the first Hextechs deck tech.
Oh, something like that.
Yeah, so it's a lot of decks and techs and hex. All right, this is Mantic here with Indormi,
Hey,
and we are going to be basically doing a run through of the decks that we've built for the show, and then going over sideboards, and then we will go ahead and play a few games against each other. I hope you guys enjoy it. So, first deck we have up here is the deck that I'll be playing. Mantic will be playing the Firebird deck. Um, can go ahead and go through the basic premise of the deck is to get a bird of plenty into play and start shooting it with your various forms of damage spells. Um, so the idea is to gain card advantage. And then the other part of the combo is to have a hex engine in play alongside a shrewd manipulation. And what this does is it will allow you to discard uh, excess cards to create resources. Um, so essentially, you can, in most cases, I'll discard two resources from hand to create two resources for me to use that turn. I run Rage Fire because that's a pretty good burn spell that will increase in damage as the game goes on. Is usually the primary win condition. Heat Wave for some aggro control, and also a way to draw cards. Burn, useful spell. And then one of the stars in the deck is the Ruby Lance. The Ruby Lance can net you huge amounts of cards if you hit a bird plenty with it. You can, pay 3, draw 5 is pretty good. An Oracle Song that gives you an additional 3 cards is no joke. I do I do run 3 chimes as well. Chimes is great. All those burn spells to the bird double, so get even more cards. Has wonderful synergy with the Rage Fire. Basically, you escalate twice as fast, and you're actually increasing the amount of Rage Fires in the deck because it'll actually shuffle the copies that you create back into your deck as well. So you can end up with 12 Rage Fires in your deck near the end of the game to draw into with the Bird of Plenty. Um, I do run Farney as well. Um, I have both the Hex engine or a Chimes that will help with his charge ability. Uh, Primarily using it to hit the Bird of Plenty for even more card draw and card advantage. In a way, if you have if you have a Hex engine in play, he becomes a Wyatt that draws you 4 instead of 1. So pretty good here. And then there's also corner cases where you can just use it to get rid of a troublesome troop that's too big for your heat waves to hit. Since the deck is mostly Ruby, and I'm trying to get as much Ruby threshold as possible, I've maximized the amount of Ruby shards in the deck. Running just a small amount of Sapphire shards, um, and I'm also running 4 Adaptable Fusion Device and 3 Shards of Fate to try and get that 1 Sapphire threshold I need. Once I get that 1 Sapphire threshold, I basically try to avoid getting any more Sapphire. If I draw any Shards of Fate or Adaptable Fusion Devices after acquiring that first Sapphire threshold, I'm going to be using it to increase my Ruby count so that's the basic gist of the deck and how it runs. And then just to cap it off, I have 2 Ash Harpy as like an alt win con. When you don't get a Bird of Plenty, which sometimes happens, the deck pretty much plays as a really bad Ruby control deck, and so you need some way of winning. And I have 2 Ash Harpy in there just to kind of round out the deck as a plan B. If we look at the reserves, um, it's a little wonky. I have two more harpies to kind of go more all in on that damage plan of the bad Ruby deck. Um, I have three counter magic and three arcane shield. Um, don't really want to run those main deck because they're really hard to cast because of the double sapphire. But for those dire situations where you're going to be running against a heavy removal deck, I need some way of protecting the bird. I also have two blood shards and three call of the grave as another like fail safe against losing my bird. Um, Basically, I want to be able to uh, the whole deck revolves around the bird of plenty, and I want to be able to um, if I ever draw into one, I want to keep it. So having call the grave allows me to bring it back into play. Um, if it ever if the counter magic or the arcane shield uh, aren't there in time to save the bird, then the Call of the Grave can get it back. And since I have since I have the seven cards in the main deck that allow me to fetch a resource color, I can just throw in the two blood shards and get them pretty easily. So, and then two burn the ground. Essentially, if you're running against like more of a mid-rangey deck, and the heat waves really aren't as effective, I can maybe side some of those out for some burn to the grounds. So, I can use it to hit larger troops, and or I can use it on an opponent with the chimes in play as another alternate win con. So that'd be good as another alternate win con alongside Ash Harpy when you can't get the Bird of Plenty combo going. And that should be it for my deck. I'll go ahead and let Indormi talk to us about the deck he'll be playing today. Indormi?
So I'll be playing a much more straightforward deck in a version of a Blood Diamond aggro Lifegain. Basically, we just play a bunch of creatures that give us life gain, and we try to focus all the life gain into the cast called Incantation of Righteousness, which makes our troops much bigger. As it gives +2/+2 to every creature we have when we have above 20 life. After we have transform it. So basically, it's just an aggro deck that focuses on making paladins big, and we also have a couple of totems, just because totem is a really good troop. It's low cost. It's fantastic against control. It's fantastic against other aggro decks because get himself Swift Strike, which makes him trade up basically most of the times. We're also running 3 Angels of Dawns. We are not running the full 4. First of all, because 5 costs, we are not going to want to cast it ever. We just want to have them for free. So we just play 1 less to have less chance of opening 2 of them or so in our opening hand. And in addition to that, we are also running 2 Inner Conflict and 2 Murders. We are not running Repels in this case, just because we Repel only hits attacking troops, and we want to use our Removal also offensively to get rid of blocking troops, problematic big troops that block our way. In the same sense, we also run 2 life siphons to end the game when we are practically out of gas and to get those few points of damage. In a similar way as our aggro is more vertical than horizontal, we are running 2 Call of the Graves to get back our 10/10 paladins or 10/10 totems that we have when they die to removal. And on the sideboard, we have the 2 extra Murders and 2 extra Conflicts when we are running against another creature heavy deck. We are also running 4 Frost Wizards, as he is fantastic against all the troops that has effects on the graveyard, like Inquisitor, or just the Escalation cast that we are facing today with the Rage Fires. In a similar way, against more control decks, we also have 4 Inquisitions. The primary target is the sweepers, like Heatwave or Extinction, but it can also hit key casts that are hard for us to answer. So we bring them when they have casts that we cannot answer easily, but that are really problematic, apart from the sweepers. And I had to put a little concessions to Soul Cavalry. It can be really annoying against us, and the only way we can basically kill it is blocking it and pumping a one of our cry. But that's why heroic inspiration is there. And also the last thing we are running Gothok just because his hero power is fantastic to proc the incantation and as on our paladin. So that's basically it. So now we should go to the matches. See you guys.